Hello folks, welcome to episode 5 of my Tesla Moan series. Today I want to look at two topics. Number 1, the Tesla share price. What's that all about? And number 2, an update on my Tesla Model 3 order. Okay, let's get started. Right. Anyone who's even had a cursory look at Tesla shares has noticed wild fluctuations in the valuations of that. But more than that, wild predictions from various different so-called experts about where that price should be. For example, ARK Invest have a bullish forecast for Tesla's share price of between $4,000 and $6,000. Their bearish forecast is even at $560 per share, which is more than twice where it is today. Also, Ron Barron thinks that Tesla will be $1 trillion company by 2030. On the other hand, you have other investment advisors, such as Morgan Stanley, for example, are predicting a share price of, on the bear side of things, of $10 a share for Tesla, and the likes of Citigroup predicting a bearish price of $36 a share for Tesla. All these predictions in recent months during 2019. So, who's right? What's the real story? First, I want to say I am not an investment advisor. I have dabbled in share transactions over the years, not very successfully. I'm not advising you one way or the other to buy or sell Tesla shares. I do own a small number of Tesla shares myself. I am not going to sell them or buy any more in the near future. Okay, let's get on with it. I am an accountant and I do have an understanding of financial statements, and I'm going to look at the Tesla share price purely from a financial forecasting perspective. In my view, the long-term value of any company has to be based on its sustainable profits and its ability to pay a return to its investors in the long term. Tesla at present does not make profits, but it is a growing company. And if it is to survive, it has to attain profitability soon, in my view. Let's give Tesla a profitability target to aim for. Say something similar to a long-term vehicle company such as General Motors. In the year ended 30th of June 2019, General Motors made profits of about $9.3 billion before taxes. This was based on sales of $145 billion and gave it a market capitalization around that time of approximately $52 billion. In the same period, Tesla lost $500 million on sales of $25 billion, and its market capitalization was $42 billion recently. That's at a share price of about $240. It goes up and down a lot, but that's been a reasonable average recently. I want to look at this. What would Tesla need to do to achieve the same amount of profits as GM? What would it need to do to get to $9.3 billion of profits each year? In order to do that, I'm going to make some assumptions about what Tesla can do. I'm going to assume Tesla can maintain its gross margin, which I estimate is about 18% on its sales. For example, General Motors' gross margin is just over 10%. I'm also going to assume that Tesla can increase its revenue without increasing its selling, general overhead and administrative expenses. I'm further going to assume that Tesla can continue to grow without raising additional capital, be that equity capital or loan capital. Okay, I think those are generous assumptions for Tesla. Based on this formula which I created, pause this and have a look at it, see can you work it out, because I forget what I did, but I think it works. Tesla would need to achieve $80 billion of sales to get $9.3 billion of profits, also including the assumptions that I made earlier. If those profits give Tesla the same market value as GM, say, that's 52 billion, then that would value their shares at about $295 a share, a far cry from the bull's claims, but we'll see. Realistically, can Tesla achieve this profitability target? In my humble opinion, it will be difficult. The following obstacles must be overcome. Can Tesla physically produce the number of vehicles required to achieve $80 billion in sales? That would require well over 1 million vehicles to be sold each year. And that is far from what they can do at present. Even when Shanghai comes on board, they're going to need 1 or 2 more factories built before they can achieve that number of sales. And that's going to take some time. Secondly, will there be a demand for that number of EVs? Can Tesla fight off their competitors in the coming years, particularly the likes of Volkswagen, Volvo, Polestar, Opel, Renault, not to mention Mercedes, BMW and even GM? They will have major competition from these guys in the coming years. Can Tesla attain this revenue increase without spending more on selling, general administrative costs and research and development? And also, can Tesla grow to this amount of revenue without additional investment, be it equity or borrowings? There's a lot has to go Tesla's way before it can achieve these targets. Bulls and proponents will argue that a lot of Tesla's value is in its software development, the likes of its full self-driving software and the potential for driverless cars and robo-taxis, etc. While that may be the future for driving, I fear that that may be decades away rather than years away, which is what Tesla would require to help sustain its future valuation. Most new cars are already offering adaptive cruise control and lane keeping assistance, and I think that will be enough for most people. Also, Tesla has a lot to overcome with its full self-driving software. It has to overcome government resistance, regulatory requirements, not to mention the machinations of the big oil. Those things will take a long time to overcome, I think. So what's the message? I think Tesla can become profitable in the coming years, but not at the level that would justify the aspirations of its strongest proponents, the bulls who are talking about thousands of dollars share valuation. A share price of less than $300 might be more realistic, in my view. And the next thing then, what if the bears are right? What if Tesla can't survive? What if the competition for electric vehicles bury it in the coming years and its full self-driving software and those other advantages it sees it has itself do not pan out? Well, if they lose out to competition, Elon Musk will, like Thanos, sit back in his garden, content and smiling at what he's achieved. Because at the start of this Tesla journey, this is what he set out to do, to get other vehicle manufacturers to take EVs seriously and to help the environment by converting production to sustainable, ecologically friendly vehicles. Even if Tesla does not survive, he will probably achieve this. You can't say he didn't warn you. Okay, here's an update on my Model 3 order. If you've looked at my previous videos, you may be aware that I ordered a Tesla Model 3 right-hand drive from the Irish website at the end of May 2019. The promised delivery date then was July 2019. July came and went. I heard absolutely nothing from Tesla. I contacted them and I was given a revised delivery date of September. September came. Halfway through the month, I'd still heard nothing from Tesla apart from a rather cryptic text that didn't tell me a lot. So I decided to contact them, and you will have seen my efforts in a previous video where basically they just didn't answer their phones, so I've no idea what's happened. Anyway, September passed on. I heard no more from Tesla. I was pretty pissed, I'll tell you. Still hadn't got my car, still no contact. So I decided to have a look at what alternatives might be there if this Tesla order did not work out. You may recall I looked previously at the Jaguar I-Pace, beautiful car. I was really impressed by it, but it was about 30,000 euros more expensive than the Tesla Model 3, and that was kind of just about out of my reach. Subsequently, I looked at it again recently, and Jaguar have put the price up by over 11,000 euros. So now it is way beyond my reach. I'm not getting that. But also in the meantime, Volkswagen unveiled the ID.3. That looks like a pretty impressive car to me. Won't be available at the earliest the middle of 2020, but I have to say I was impressed by it. A fully spec'd ID.3 first edition, I think, would still be cheaper than the Model 3 I had ordered. So I did it. I put a reservation deposit on an ID.3. It's still a backup plan to the Tesla. We'll see. Meanwhile, since then, this happened. I got an email from Tesla about my Model 3 order. This seems to have been prompted by the upcoming termination of a grant that's available for the car. So they needed to move fast so that their customers wouldn't lose out on that. Anyway, this email is promising me delivery of the car by the end of November. Great, I hope that happens. I'm not cancelling my ID.3 reservation yet. We'll see. Okay, see you next time.